Namaskaram. Today we'll be taking some quotes from Master Jiddu Krishnamurti. Although he is regarded as the world teacher, although nobody learnt much from him because it requires a certain level of person to understand what he is saying actually. In Sanskrit, his talks are regarded as modern Sankhya philosophy, and Sankhya is originated in India. So let's start what he's saying. He's saying, as long as the mind tries to change its stupidity into something else, so we can see a process in the mind that it tries to change many things into something else, and that is what we call as desiring process also. So whenever mind craves for some kind of future, it is actually modifying the past into a more suitable version to his liking. So mind is never satisfied with what is present before you, and it always pushes you towards something else. So out of this changing nature of mind, and mind itself changes also, it goes from one basis to another. From your own life, you might have seen that some years before you were desiring something else and you were going after something else. Once that is satisfied, then you go after something else. So from another change to another change, and this is an endless process. So the people who do not understand what actually the mind is actually trapped in this process of change, which is initiated and maintained by the mind. So that's why you can see that many people are like feeling that they are trapped into something, and they do not know how to get out of the trap that they have set them for themselves. So whatever your mind tries to does, it actually maintains some kind of limits to itself, that where it want to work, and once the limit is set, then mind wants to break it. So it's basically it's like you are fighting yourself the whole of your life till you are identified with the mind. So understanding the mind and its process is a very fundamental, should be taught in schools also, but nobody bothers about it. So Krishnamurti is saying, as long as the mind tries to change its stupidity into something else, it remains stupid. Why he's saying that? So what actually is the stupidity? The stupidity, we can understand that when you lack the clarity in your actions and planning, that is a kind of stupidity. So why does the mind wants to change its stupidity into something else? Because it wants to remain stupid. Because let's say you have the habit of overeating, so it's a kind of stupidity, and now you want to recognize this bad. First you recognize this habit as bad, and then you try to find the ways to stop the overeating. Though every time you sit on the plate you do overeat and you eat the things you do not want to eat. So let's say when you are fresh in the morning, you always say you will eat fruits and this the whole day, but whenever something from your favorite food comes in front of you, you grab it and eat it more than what is required. So when the mind notices this habit, this stupidity, and now it wants to let's say you have a goal that you want to balance your food habits which are bad, but it cannot actually, it remains stupid. And why? Because The mind never delves into the cause, that how the stupidity has started. It never looks that into the fundamental cause, because if it looks at the fundamental cause, like let's say if your mind has introvertedly paid attention to the starting, when that thought has arisen that you want to eat more, actually you are delving, you are examining the very existence of mind. And mind would never like it. Even if a person with wisdom tells you about it, you won't like to hear what is the fundamental cause of your stupidity, because mind does not allow. Mind will only filter the things which you want to hear. And that's how the people struggle their whole life for the very very small things. And even the very giant intellectual people, you will find that stupidity is somehow spread over the most part of their lives. The people whom you call intelligent, they are stupid in some other sense. Though you are always mesmerized by the money, amount of money they make, the show they produce in front of others, and so on. But once because you can say, you can remember actually one thing. I like this story very much, that when Buddha left his complete kingdom in search for truth, so you, most of you are after the kingdom actually. But Buddha in the young age left the kingdom, so he only saw the kingdom burning in the end. And you always paint your own kingdom, your own passions, your own destinies with a rosy picture. So either you are correct or the Buddha is correct. There is no in between way. You cannot enjoy both of the worlds. So you have to look at your own stupidity, but you won't look at it because it will destroy the basis of the mind itself. So Krishnamurti further says, but if the mind says, I realize that I am stupid and I want to understand what the stupidity is, therefore I shall go into it, I shall observe how it comes into being. So what he is now, he is suggesting you a kind of meditation. He is actually suggesting a kind of meditation, but he is not he is such a shy master that he actually won't tell you clearly what because he respects your freedom so much. So what he is saying, that I realize that I am stupid, I want to understand what stupidity is, therefore I shall go into it. So the meditation part is, I shall observe how it comes into being. So let's say we have considered example of the overeating. So from the very start, he is suggesting that you observe that how it has started, how it came into being. The effects are the later part. Go to the seed. When food is in front of you, what is the reaction it has produced within you? What is the process it has started within you? What is the click? What is the inspiration to do the action? Just observe the complete process. Once the food is there, you forget yourself, your hand moves without any intelligence, and just you are completely into the taste of your tongue, and you are carried away by the experience of tongue. You want to produce that experience more and more, again and again, and that leads you to eat more and more. See, so how the subtle greed has taken you to eat more. It is actually greed in function. Though people try to suggest to themselves that they are very non-greedy person. But if you are greedy, then in one way or the other it shall be shown to you. You may be greedy with many things, with money, with power, with food, with your compulsive actions, with your overworking, and so on. There are many forms. This is just a very small example which I want to tell you, that greed is the result. Greed will manifest into overeating. So that is the stupidity. Because you should look at how your body is feeling with respect to food. You should see, in fact you should observe that food is the fuel. Food should be the fuel. The taste is also important. Taste is when body will produce some kind of pleasure when you will have a tasty food. But food also goes through your stomach, it goes through your intestines, then you have to excrete it also. So the complete process should be in your knowing, with along with a good experience. That will we call as a balanced eating, a balanced diet. But hardly no one wants to observe their own stupidities. Their life is full of small stupidities. You want to talk more. You want to go after many things. You like to shop more. You have everything, still you do not want to look at the process, that why you need more chappals. Why you need more sandals, why you will need another pair of football. You will say no, I like it, but when you will look at the process from the very starting, you will find many amazing things. Why you have only one particular kind of interest, and even if the interest is trapping you, you are saying that no, it's my interest. And if you are sticken to it, you are only saying, you are only conveying that in your interest you are lost. In your interest you are lost. And that's why you are repeating it again and again in hoping of being lost. Once the losing of yourself stops in a particular activity, then you change the hobby. Then you change your activity. You like to ride your bike very fast for some years, and then you switch off, then you switch your hobby into something else. Now you want to go after girls. Now you want to read more lectures. So what is that? Do you think the expression is differing, the biking and reading many books? But you are actually doing the same thing. You want to get dissolved in the experience. But actually, can you? Because experiences will be endless, and once the sense which is experiencing that particular activity, if that gets bored and becomes insensitive to that kind of hobby, because you have repeatedly exploiting your own body and senses, then actually you switch the activity because the pleasure is not coming. So stupid actions are generally for seeking pleasure, but once the pleasure stops, you switch your stupid activity. So but how many people do like to observe them? Very few actually. They will only observe where it is profitable. They will only observe the activity where there are consequences. Even somebody wakes them up that you should observe your this part of life with an open mind, and I'm the feedback which I'm giving to you, should look at it, that what you are doing is actually not good for your life. But they won't like the feedback actually. Nobody have such open mind that they can look at their life completely from like a third person is looking. And you actually have that capability, that you can observe each and every part of your life. Because the observer, the observer, the Shiva, the experiencer, can actually look at the every experience. This process of thinking, this desiring, this future creating process, the process of doing the actions is actually you can observe. The experiencer can observe anything, even the death it can observe. So Krishnamurti is saying that then that very process of inquiry brings about a fundamental transformation. We'll just quickly look at how it brings. Okay, let's say there are choices in front of you. Okay, 1 2 3 4. So out of the four choices, if without observation the past will overrule, without observation the past will actually overrule. Why? Because past will only manifest itself as the future. The habits you made yesterday will only manifest in the future. So what is the fundamental transformation? So let's say you want to do any activity and you get the four choices. So if you do the pure observation, the observation from the level of observer, from the level of Chaitanya, from the level of Shiva, from the level of the experiencer, from the level of the knower, then you will actually look at all these four choices from a distant view. And this the capacity to observe, the capacity to pay attention, it is such a fundamental thing. Actually you may confuse it with the concentration, the focus of the intellect, which tries to relate the choices with the previously made actions and their results. But the pure observation does not invoke past the way the intellect and the focus and the concentration does. So the pure observation will at these choices from the very distance, and it has that innate capacity to know the essence of that thing. That is actually the capacity of every human being. Once they look at the activity, let's say once they look at the four choices for a particular thing, they will know what is good for the life. It will actually separate it out. The broad view it will take, it will go to the very depth, it will go whether the four choices are impacting the life or not, in what way it will be impacting the life as a whole. Because this pure observation, this is the point, this is actually the point from where the complete life is made. So it can always sense what is good for the life and, in what ways. So once you will observe from that level, let's say just about food, you have four choices to eat. It will not only observe the choices, it will observe how the choices has been presented, from where they have come, and what are the consequences it will lead. And even this observation is dynamic. Let's say from all the four choices you made first choice, and the first choice you think if the actually depends on the level of observation. If you can just purely observe, then you will completely separate out the first in actually no time. The very very great masters have that kind of observation. But let's say we talk first from your point of view. And let's say you made one choice and then the results are not what you expected, then obviously there is a lack of attention. A second thing would be, this observation will even tell you where it went wrong. Even if you have the less intensity of attention, the span of your attention is less, then your observation will tell you where this activity has actually gone wrong. And now you can compare it with the other choices and you will actually look for a fifth option. So even if you have any range of capacity, let's say you have 10%, 20%, or if you have 80%, and let's say if some scale of you have 100% attention observation capacity, then in proportion to that your light is, and you will get the set step ahead. Let's say if you have the 10% attention of what a human at peak can do, then this 10% will show you some just next steps or let's say half a step, they will show it to you. And now you carry the torch further, and you can complete your way. Maybe it will take a longer time, but a master, let's say if he has 100% attention, he will straight away tell you that actually he can look at the complete choice making process and whether even the choicing is required or not. So that is we call wisdom. They can penetrate into the things so deeply that you will be surprised about the level of attention the masters pay to a particular thing. And the things they will tell you will not be written in some books. They can actually, though these are the people who generate the books, because their attention, the level of their attention is so but you may you do not please confuse yourself this observation from the people. Let's say somebody is writing a novel, and that activity also needs concentration, focus, but the capacity of observation which you are talking about is actually different. It is the capacity to observe every experience of the life and not just one experience. So I think that is the criteria that you should separate out the both the focus and the observation. The observation will include anything, inclusive, exclusive. You want to observe one thing, you want to observe the whole of the life, so that is included under observation. But the focus, it will try to exclude other things and will focus only one thing, and the relation of it with others it will completely miss. And that's why the activity or the result of the focus will be very limited, and it is bound to get wrong in some further time. And you can always experience with yourself that one, the decisions you made 5 years back are now not valid anymore, because you have you have not observed the process of it completely. You had just focused, and with the current and the present situation parameters you solved that problem. But the masters look at the situation in a very complete way, a very completely different way. They actually look and penetrate into the essence of that process, that what this process actually is, and from which angle it is impacting the life. So this we are discussing the process, because process of observation, because you can tell it to your childrens, you can tell it to anyone. The observation, they will require some spare time. Even while doing the activity, this observation can be made, because this capacity of observation is actually independent of the experiences that you are looking at. That's why it is so important. Once you are lost in the experience, you cannot look at the activity. Let's say once you are lost in the overeating, you cannot look at what you are doing. Only later stage you will come to know that your belly size has increased and you are having gastric problems. So the master actually telling you the technique of meditation in a very very simple way. And the schools do not actually enhance this part of the students. They only want to feed them with the information and not how to think. And this observation capacity can reveal anything, because it is a fundamental intelligence of life which life has put into you. But people miss it, and people do not use it. They may use it for some time and then they forget, but actually this process should be on for till you are dead, and even after that. This process of observation can even look at the death itself. It can go to the past lives if you think they exist. It can go to the other lokas of the life. It can penetrate the dream. It can penetrate from where the desires are coming. It can penetrate the deep sleep. It can penetrate anything mysterious you want to look at. It can penetrate what is the process of consecration. It can penetrate the vibrations of the other person. It can even penetrate the thoughts of other person. it can actually do the things which you think are mysterious, but they are nothing mysterious. You just don't know the law of those activities, how they are performed. So I may sound very mysterious to you on this aspect, but it this process of observation can fetch you anything you want. But I hope you explore this capacity to observe, and this capacity to observe will lead you to self realization. And once the self realization has come in your life, then your life will be of a different nature. So I hope you have got some hints about what master has said. Pranam.